Everybody, how y'all doing? Going on 3 months now at the Talk That's Real. Welcome to the show on tonight. I am so happy and I'm excited for what the Lord is going to do with us on tonight. Sorry for the delay. Someone will come on and say something about the delay. But we are learning and yet trying to get this Zoom going and get things together so things can be more prepared and more organized. But I'm excited on tonight to be living, excited on tonight for this beautiful, awesome, and amazing talk show that the Lord allowed for me to have. It's not just my show, it's me and my Father's show. So I'm excited of what He's done and what He's yet doing. And y'all know last week we was talking about married couples, talking about fiancés, those that's thinking about getting married, those that's engaged right now. It's a beautiful thing. It's just a lot to learn, a lot to grow as you have to grow up and do things together and not just you by yourself. It's togetherness now. And we talked about that on last week. Also, we came out of the book of 1 Corinthians, the 7th chapter. And that scripture by itself was so interesting. I think that's what really spiked the conversation on last week. It was real good. It was really interesting. But those that's coming on, that's tuning in, tag your friends, tag your neighbors, tag your loved ones, even your enemies. Tag them on in and welcome them into this show on tonight with our beautiful, amazing hot topic, how to save your marriage God's way. And that's very important to do. How to save your marriage God's way. But tag that someone in, share with them on your page of this amazing show on tonight. And I just want to say to you all once again, welcome to the Talk That's Real show. We have some new things coming on in this month. We have some new ideas and some ways of you showing of the beautifulness of being married, because it is ordained by God. And so that's why this month we are doing about married couples, because it's needed. We done talked about a lot of other things and now it's our turn. So please, you all, stay tuned. Do not touch that button. grateful for the beautiful couples we had on last week. The Scotts was in the house. My big bro, my big sis was in the house with us on last week. Even my very own husband was with us also on last week. And I'm so grateful. It was beautiful. The Lord really blessed that show. We had got feedbacks, and I just want to give a shout out to all those that's faithful and committed with this show. I thank you all so much for supporting. I'm so serious, y'all. Inboxing me with giving me encouragement and giving me positive things, and even the bad of the things that they dealing with in their marriage. But this have been a blessing to so many people, and I'm so grateful, and I give God the glory, because if it wasn't for God, I wouldn't be able to do this at all. If it wasn't for God, I wouldn't even be doing this at all. If I didn't have a heart like I do, I wouldn't even be doing this at all. If I haven't experienced on my own, I wouldn't even be doing this. But I thank the Lord, because He get the glory of it all. Yes, we gonna have heated conversation, heated moments, and loving and fun moments, because that's what this is about. It's about being real. It's no fake, no phoniness on this show, because God is in control. And I'm so grateful of this. And we also allow you all to be involved. We allow you all to ask your questions. And we also say, please be respectful and mindful of us. We are yet human beings, and we are yet making it with the help of God and living with the help of God. And also, we want to continue being that example before you all. And at the same time, when you ask your questions, just be mindful and respectful that this is our personal space that we are sharing with you on tonight. We don't mind, but just please be respectful and mindful of the questions that you may have. But we talked about last week, we was talking about the principles of marriage. And we was talking about the differences of husband rendering to his wife the affection due her, and likewise also the wife to her husband. That's verse 3. Verse 4, the wife does not have authority over her own body, but the husband does. And likewise, the husband does not have authority over his own body, but the wife does. And we were sharing about that on last week, how, at times, husbands or wives, whoever it may be tired, maybe not in the mood, and then the husband want to come and hold the wife and touch her, and then the wife said, no, not tonight. And then you got the husband or the wife coming on in the bed or even on the couch and just want to cuddle, and then the husband may say, I'm about to go to bed. You know what I'm saying, y'all? So now as you see and read, that's not God's way. Because our body do not belong to us. It belongs to, my body belongs to my husband, and his body belongs to me. So the way we've been doing things and receiving these things, that is hurtful. I've been there before. That is hurtful, and we both have. Because I know at times we do so much throughout the day to where we, be tired or may not really be in the mood. But that is not the way it should be all the time. As you can see, if I want to touch my husband, I can touch him. If he want to touch me, he got every right to touch me. So we just have to be mindful that this is not our way, this is God's way. So it's time to start over and redo this thing and relive this marriage God's way. But our first guest we will have on tonight will be my husband. I guess I can say my thing. My husband, my boo, my lover, my friend, my headache, my pain, my lover, my hero, and my everything. And I thank the Lord for my husband that's going to come on with us on tonight. And at this time, we're going to invite him in. Come on, baby. Come on in on the talk.
I'm here, y'all. I'm here. I don't know what to expect tonight.
No,
like last week. I got beat up pretty bad last week, but I am here tonight. I'm here to take my notes again. I did some homework.
Let me give you a pen. Yes.
You gonna give me one of your pens? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you one of mine tonight.
Okay.
Y'all, here we go.
Okay,
I'm excited. I am so excited. How did you like the show on last
week? Man, like they say, it was lit. It was lit. It was lit.
Hey.
That show last week was lit. It was lit, and
To God be glory.
so much information that that you could use. And as I say, you can never have too many tools,
Right.
because you never know when you're going to need it.
That's right.
And it's better to have the tool and not need it
Right.
than to don't have and need it.
Right.
And so those two that we got last week from the Scots, it was awesome.
Yes,
and
it
then
was.
also they even have a book out,
Yes.
Solid Foundation book,
Yes.
that even takes a lot further, that you can have even more information that's going to be available. I believe they said the 1st of August is going to be available on Amazon.
Mm.
So man,
I
that
can't
show.
wait though.
The show was just really, it was
it was-
amazing.
it was
It was
right
an
on
amazing
time.
show, and I thank God for it.
Well, I'm so glad you enjoyed yourself. I really, I really am, y'all. I'm so happy that we had that moment. So you all, on tonight, we have a special guest. We're going to just get on into the show tonight. We have a special guest on tonight. I have another big bro. I believe I'm older than him though, but I call him big bro because he's taller than me. And I have another sister and brother that's coming on tonight. So beautiful, a beautiful, loving couple. And I'm so grateful how the Lord brought us together and blessed us to be together to where we can come together and be on one accord and work together with the help of God. And we're going to enter in, coming out of the green room. No, I don't even want to say your name. I don't even want to say it. I'm just going to surprise y'all because I like surprises. My big bro and my beautiful sis is coming on with us tonight with Zoom. So everyone be patient with us. And we're going to call on a beautiful couple. Their last name is Lewis.
Mm.
If anybody know them, say hi.
Hello, everybody. Hey.
Pastor Lewis and elect lady
And
Lewis.
Pastor
We are so glad
so honored.
to be invited to be on your show.
Yes.
And just how God has elevated you and how you're reaching and ministering to so many people. We're glad to just be a part of this. And we look forward to having some fun tonight. Being honest, being raw, being transparent, and
Yes.
having some real talk.
Yes.
So for those that don't know me, I am Eric Lewis, and I have the pleasure of being married to the beautiful sunshine that's sitting next to me. And my wife, Dr. Camille Lewis, she lights up my life.
Hey.
I'm still on the move. I don't have to put any sugar in my coffee. All I have to do, if I need some sugar, is ask her to stick her pinky finger in. Just
Hey.
stir it. Be sweet.
You better go. Hey, you starting already. That's what I'm talking about.
I'm gonna have to use that one, man. I'm gonna have to use that. I like that. I'm gonna have to. I'll definitely give you the rights to it. And
But you know what can I say? She not spare rib, she prime rib.
Oh.
He's prime rib.
Oh my goodness, I like that. You better talk about her, cause hey, you you don't want to go to bed with one eye open.
Hallelujah.
That's right.
You want to say anything to your bro and sis?
Man, it's a pleasure
Oh,
to.
you trying to fix that.
It's a pleasure to have y'all on all the way in Texas. He jumped out. He jumped out on us and made a move of faith. But I thank God just to be reunited with you again, my brother and your beautiful wife. So glad my wife already gave me a pen, so I write kind of
Yes.
slow, so don't talk too fast
I know
now.
you don't.
Oh. You know, can I share something?
Go ahead.
Yes.
You know, when I found out about my wife, I was actually at a wedding reception for
Okay.
somebody else. And while I was at the wedding reception, a relative of mine who has a strong prophetic gift, she said, I just see this picture of a woman. She's very beautiful. She lives in Houston, Texas. Her father, she's saved. She loves the Lord. She's a worshiper. She's very intelligent. She's a pharmacist. Her dad is a pastor. Would you ever go to Houston to meet this particular woman? And at the time, I was in Michigan. I said, yes. I said, matter of fact, I'm going to Houston, Texas on next week. I was already en route to Texas, and God had my blessing already in place.
Wow.
When I got to Texas, I sent her a message. I corresponded with her. We went out. You know what? We met at an AIM convention.
Uh-oh.
I know you got to watch those convention hookups.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
But she was something special. So when I met her, she was cold towards me.
Uh-oh.
Because at the convention, there were a lot of men that were dressed what she would term as question. So I thought I was looking fly. I thought I looked good. I had on this nice blue blazer with some mustard pants, and I had on this polka dot, this blue and mustard polka dot tie. I thought I looked good. So I stepped up to her to talk to her, and she was just real tough on me. It was her and a group of other friends of theirs and hers. And so she walked off from me. So I said, well, I'll talk to her friends then.
Yes.
So I talked to her friends. I called back up to her. I saw her getting ready to get on the sidewalk. I tried to help her up. She pulled her hand back. I said, all right. So that was like on a Wednesday. Then on a Tuesday, rather. Then I want to say on a Wednesday, I came back to the convention to meet her. Her dad shows up. He asked me what was my relationship with Jesus Christ. I started talking to her father. I'm excited about Jesus. He just let me know I don't want to hear and walked off. I said, oh, man. Dad was tough on me. I said all that to say this. I left all. I pursued my wife. Any real man will go after the woman of his dreams. He will go after his wife and do whatever it takes within love and righteousness to get her. And I'm still chasing after her.
Wow.
And I still remember when I asked for her dad's blessing. We were supposed to meet at about 6 o'clock. And for whatever reason, I was sitting on the couch. I don't think he showed up until about 1 in the morning. I was angry, man and woman of God. I was angry.
Come
He
on.
was at convention.
He said he was at a church, a district meeting. I said, it couldn't have been in church that long. It's 1 in the morning. So he came, when he walked in the house after I've been waiting there, he said, you still here? But I couldn't show my frustration because I wanted his blessing. But God worked everything out.
But in perspective, I was an intricate part of the ministry. So, I was that daughter that helped out a lot. I was really concerned about my parents. I honored them. And so, you've had that child that does, for them, they were just trying to make sure that he truly was the one.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
I'm still here.
There you go.
Yes. And they love him.
Oh, good.
I love them too.
Yeah, they do.
Because marriage is a package deal.
Yes,
I'm
it
not
is.
just marrying her, I'm marrying her family.
Right.
She's not just marrying me, she's marrying my family.
Right. That's awesome. That is awesome. Well, I mean, I don't know what to say about that, man. You done gave me some lines already to use. So I appreciate that. I'm gonna make sure I use some of those tonight and see where it goes.
How long y'all been married?
8 years.
Wow.
8 years?
Wow.
Oh, that is beautiful.
Wow.
We
Usually,
have 2 children.
now that's beautiful as well.
We haven't caught up to you all. You all keep the truth. But we thank God for the double blessing.
Amen.
Oh, my
A
goodness.
5-year-old son and a 3-year-old daughter.
That's beautiful. Yeah, you don't want to. I can't say don't do it, but I wasn't trying to get 5. It just happened.
Well, he just couldn't stay away from it.
You're right.
Yes.
You're right. I couldn't.
Sad situation. Now, see, you didn't open up a door. I'm gonna ask you this question. I'm pretty sure a lot of people may want to know. So, you know how it be like when you first get married.
Yeah.
So when you first get married, that fire is lit. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
And it's steam, and it's so hot, it's so wet, it's so smoky, it's all kind, right?
Yes.
So, why do the fireplace come out some? Why the fire come down some a little bit, during the time of marriage? What do you say on that?
I think you have to contribute to a growing possible family, growing career, growing ministry, growing responsibilities. And so whereas in the beginning of marriage, you may have had a limited amount of responsibilities, but then as time progresses and you mature, God sometimes hands you more.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to be willing to make some sacrifices, but at the same time, you got to take care of home first.
Mm-hmm.
But when you both are on one accord and you're both committed to one another
Mm-hmm.
and the responsibilities that God has blessed you with and given to you,
Mm-hmm.
then you learn to navigate, you learn to balance, you learn to put things in the proper perspective
Mm-hmm.
through God, through prayer, and through talking, consulting. I need you.
Yes.
You
Mm.
know.
Girl,
You
come
know.
on, I see your face.
You need me, or sometimes I would just ask my husband, you need me.
Right.
Because he's so understanding, and you have to be patient with one another, but you absolutely have to be mindful of each other's needs. So that's
Okay.
my response.
Okay.
And just to share some perspective in addition to what she said, that was really good. When you're first getting married, you're still in that dating phase, which you should still stay in.
Mm-hmm.
There's this deception that once you get married, okay, now I have room to get comfortable and get lazy.
Uh-huh.
And that's not the case.
Right.
We're married, but we're still dating.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what I've seen happen and what I've really had to watch for is when you're married, if not careful, there can be familiarity.
Right. Right.
You ever notice when someone gets a pair of brand new Jordans, they get some brand new jewelry, they get a brand new
Come
car,
on.
they clean it, they wash it.
Yep.
They even careful about who they give a ride in their car because they don't want it
Yes.
to get dirty.
Right.
Yes.
Relationship, the same value that's placed on that relationship in the beginning must be maintained during the longevity of the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes, if not careful, couples can get familiar with each other.
Yes.
And when there's familiarity, sometimes there's a lack of respect, there's a lack of attention, there's a lack of love.
Right.
When I would be patient and soft in what I was saying, now I'm short in what I'm saying. I'm strong or demeaning in what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes that happens if we're not careful.
Right.
So we can never lose sight on how valuable each of us are in the marriage.
Right.
Wow. Wow.
So, do you think that's everywhere? And I know every marriage is different, but do you think you get a lot of feedback in that way in the churches, or more than the outside marriages, or do you think it can be both ways?
And I don't think that's always the case, but that truly can be the case. You have to stay appealing to each other.
Amen.
If we have to keep it real, but circumstances sometimes alter your ability to maintain a certain physique or stamina, all of that. Sometimes circumstances, and that's why we say when we get married, we say for better or for worse,
No, you didn't go there.
the commitment that we made, and that's why we have to really be committed. No matter what it looks like, I'm committed. And it's not wavering. Does it affect sometimes that appeal or that drive or that passion? It can.
Mm-hmm.
It can, but you ask the Lord, to help you. If there's an area of lack, you have to ask the Lord to help you, and that's my perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And if I may share, great job.
There you go. There you go.
I think in church, I've been raised in the church.
Mm-hmm.
I've been born and bred in the church. So God had to really open my perspective, challenge me in my area, and in a lot of areas, allow me to have some experiences to sensitize me to the word.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was blessed to have very good experiences, but I was sheltered. And there's growth pains that come with being sheltered,
Mm-hmm.
as well as there's growth pains that come with being exposed to a lot.
Mm.
Neither one is necessarily, there's growth opportunities in both experiences, I'll say it that way. And being born in the church, what I've seen and what I've learned is that in church we're taught to live saved.
Uh-huh.
We're taught if we're sick how to get healed. We're
Yes.
taught if we're bound how to get delivered.
Right.
We're taught to forgive our enemies.
Yes.
We're taught even to love our neighbors as ourselves, but when
Right.
it comes to loving in
Yes.
a marriage
Yes.
relationship,
Yes.
there's a lot of silence.
Uh-oh.
Yes. Come on.
Uh-oh.
And the reason there's a lot of silence is in order for me to be effective and to talk truthfully, I have to put myself under the spotlight.
Mm.
And a lot of couples in the church don't want to do
Don't
that. They
do
say,
it.
Jesus.
Yes.
But to Jesus, when Jesus is saying, let your light so shine,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
he's saying when people see you, they should see me.
Me. That's
Right.
right.
So as it pertains to church, it's very important that the couples that have been married and had successful relationships, that they speak out. Even those that may not have made decisions that they thought were good decisions, or they saw themselves as failing in their relationships, they have a lot they can bring to the table.
Oh,
There's
yes.
a lot to be brought.
Oh,
Right.
yes.
Right.
People come to the church and
Oh,
they don't
yes.
get answers about relationships.
Oh, yes.
They go elsewhere.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
And that's why real talk is so relevant and
Yes.
so pertinent right now. Now, me and my wife, we've had these conversations in front of the church congregation.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's very important in
It
a
is.
marriage that a man should look appealing to his wife.
That's right.
She don't always want to see him in oversized clothes. She want to see what
Come
he's
on.
working with.
That's
Uh-oh.
right. Come
Uh-oh.
on. Say that. Keep
And
it
then
real.
a husband,
Right.
no matter how much he speaks in tongues,
Yes.
no matter how much he dances and shouts,
Yes.
behind closed doors when the congregation is not there,
That's right.
God put a desire in that man
Mm-hmm.
to want his wife.
That's right.
God put it in the man.
Amen.
In Genesis, when God told Adam to be fruitful and multiply, that's talking about the love-making process.
Mm-hmm.
And for a husband to want his wife, she has to be appealing to him.
Mm.
So let me talk in terms of like food and delicacies and yes,
And what appeals to a man may not appeal to a woman altogether. We're wired up differently.
Wow.
So it's the way you treat us. Yes, we want you to look a certain way, but it's the overall package where sometimes with men, they're more visual.
Mm.
That makes sense.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. We talked about that.
Right.
But and I was going to say to the appealing part for a man, men are very visual.
Right.
You'll notice, even according to statistics, a lot of men, it's over 60% statistically, struggle with pornography.
Yes.
They're involved in sex vices, and it's probably quite a bit greater than that.
Oh, yeah.
And that's because men have these desires,
Yes.
and they have to express them, and if they're not expressed the right way, they'll be expressed the wrong way.
Right. Right.
So it's important that a wife does what she can to keep her husband's attention. So my wife, very saintly woman, godly woman, and I let my wife know, I noticed that she had wore dresses that were bigger than her, and I couldn't see her.
Oh.
I let her know you don't have to do like that now. It's a different day. It's a new season. I appreciate God's beauty in your life, and you don't have to be afraid to show it for anybody. If somebody doesn't like what God made them to be or how they look, that's not your story. That's not your testimony.
Right.
You got to be comfortable, confident, and celebrate who God made you to be. If God made you beautiful, be confident in your beauty. So my wife, I bought her dresses that appealed to me. I bought her special garments that were appealing to me. And you know what? That helps to keep the fire going.
Right.
I try to wear things that appeal to my wife. I try to be colorful. I try to change it up. I try not to be boring. I try to do different things. I might be casual. I might be kind of cool a little bit, wear a hat, some jewelry. I might be real dressy and sophisticated. But I want her to know I'm a diamond. I got different angles. I'm versatile. I'm not 2D. I'm not 3D. I'm versatile. It's a whole lot of sides to me.
Right. Say something on that.
Well, I definitely agree with you. Sometimes I think that we get to a point where we feel like I think marriage is the real problem. I think sometimes people start growing apart, and when you start growing apart, now what's mine is mine, what's yours is yours. And we start going that way that no longer we're one anymore.
Yes.
And I think a lot of times people we grow apart and we start, we're worried about what I'm getting. Right. I'm worried about what I'm getting or what I'm not getting. And we're more focused on ourselves, where the sacrifice is no longer there. That I'm giving up what I'm used to getting, or what we did when we first got married. There's no longer a sacrifice that's being made or given. And now, as you were saying, my body is my body.
Yes.
I only want to be intimate when I'm ready to be intimate.
Yes.
I only want what I want for me when I want it.
Right.
I'm not giving up anything for you. And then so I think a conflict comes there because now you're turned on at one time, I'm turned on at this time, and very seldom are we turned on together. And so it hinders the chemistry, because my time should be your time. Your time should be my time.
That's right.
And we just get to the point where it's just about me, that we lose that chemistry between us two.
No communication and not knowing who that husband is. But I'm going to break it down, and this is nobody but God on this. And I hate the fact we disconnected, because I hate that we probably have to have 2 videos, but this is, I'm going to break it down even more, what my father has given me. This was a month ago, y'all, and I had to keep all this time, and I was so anxious to share it because it blew my mind, and I'm so grateful and thankful for it. Now, what my husband just said of the reason why we became apart, we started growing apart from each other, and that's why we all have our own individual identity, right? Y'all hear that, right? Watch this. The unity of couples. This is coming out of Genesis 2:24. Matter of fact, I'll read that verse first before I go to the breakdown. I'm serious, y'all. This is just so amazing. It say, this is now, verse 23, and Adam said, this is now bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, because she was taken out of a man. Verse 24, therefore a man shall leave his father and mother, and be joined to his wife, and they shall become what? one flesh. Check this out. The unity of couples, the family. In the beginning, the Lord created the first couple in his image. That was verse 1 and 1. Everybody know, not everybody, but I'm going to keep going. And described them as one flesh. Their unity was to be so complete that the Hebrew word for one, ekchad, one unit or unity, is the same word used to describe God in Deuteronomy 6 and 4. Did we leave that? Okay, mine's went out. Okay. Deuteronomy 6 and 4. The Lord our God, the Lord is one. It was not until the interest of sin. Are y'all listening? It was not until the interest of sin that their unity was broken. Genesis 3 and 12 and 13. Their relationship becomes continuous. And they took on separate identity. Did y'all hear that?
Wow.
Separate identity. As believers in Christ Jesus, we are called to be conformed to his image. As through Christ's redemptive work, we became heirs together of his grace. Now, did y'all hear the part of the sin? When the sin come in, and we already won because God created us that way, and when we allow that sin to come in, like the serpent did with Eve and Adam, but when we allow that sin to come in as another female or another male in our marriage, or we allow that sin to come in with the lacking of attention from one another, with the lacking of intimacy with one another, with the lacking of respecting one another, with the lacking of communicating with each other, with the lacking of taking out time with each other, with the lacking of listening to each other, with the lacking of being patient and forgiving one another. That's the sin that come in to make us come apart. That's why a lot of marriages are apart today. And that is not of God at all. That is not of God. This is not what he wanted us to do. This is not what he wanted us to be. He didn't create us to be this way. But we allow ourselves to get out of the will of God and focus on us. Focus on our own individual selves by allowing pornography to come and to divide that one flesh. Allowing the wrong beliefs or wrong music or a lot of other things that interfere in affecting the marriages from being one. Now we have our own identity today and separated because of this situation of us allowing sin to come in. And I'm going to let y'all go ahead and say something on that.
You summed it up.
We were enjoying you.
I'm telling y'all, it was so amazing.
I agree with everything. I agree with everything we're saying. We have our own identities. That's how we find purpose. You know, we have identity in each other. My destiny becomes his destiny. When I accepted the offer or accepted his hand in marriage, my destiny, our destiny intertwined in our who we were intertwined. And so I have my own identity, but we have an identity as Eric and Camille Lewis. People know, when they see Eric and Camille, they're this or they're that. We have an identity as a couple as well. And you have to know your God-given identity and for yourself first. And then that's how you can hope to value and affirm each other, because partly their identity, God reveals things to you when you are destined and you are walking in the will of God. He reveals things to you about your mate.
Yes,
and
he will.
Nobody has to tell you. This is his destiny. and I am here to help him achieve that.
Right.
And you know in yourself what God has destined for you to do, and
Right.
that intertwines. It correlates because you were meant to be. And
Yes.
so, but with God, He takes away, He helps to minimize that strife or that division or that tension, those things that come to pull us apart and prevent
Yes.
us from achieving
Yes.
our true divine destiny, our God-given assignment.
Yes.
And the enemy comes to distract us from achieving and accomplishing our divine assignments.
Right.
Wow.
And,
Wow.
and that was very powerful. And I was going to share, I was going to share also everything that fits other relationships and other marriages
Mm-hmm.
doesn't fit our marriage.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We don't adopt what everybody else is doing and
Right.
bring it to our relationship.
Right.
And then I was also thinking that there's a word that's very significant and very critical. It's often minimized when it should be maximized, and that word is choices.
Right.
Yes.
Choices develop or undevelop a marriage.
Amen.
Mhm.
Choices. And it's very critical to the success and the growth of our marriage relationship that I, on a daily basis, choose my wife.
Yes.
Mhm.
And I choose him.
And that my
Choose
wife
husband.
choose me.
Right.
In Ephesians, the scriptures encourage me and husbands, love your wife
That's right.
as Christ loved the church and gave himself for it.
That's
To
biblical.
love is a choice.
Yes.
It's an intentional choice. I pastored a church for 4 years. My wife encountered some health challenges, and it got to the place where I knew that I could not do both successfully. I could not give my wife the attention that she needed, and then give the church the attention that she needed. I reached a place where I had to make a choice.
Mhm. Mhm.
I made a choice, and I chose my wife.
Amen.
I stopped pastoring. I stepped down from pastoring. I let the church know and I came before the congregation. I let them know that there's no foul play, that there's nothing that I have to hide, anything like that. I have a good name. I made it clear there was other, my church leadership was there, bishop, other spiritual leaders, and I made it clear I've come to a point that my wife really, really needs me.
Yes.
I would be driving to church, my wife would be vomiting. She'd be in great pain. She was ailing physically where she needed a lot of attention.
My mind.
And many people in church didn't know it because I covered her so well
Yes.
that they couldn't see.
Yes.
Because husband covers his wife.
Yes.
Love covers a multitude of
Yes.
faults. When you love somebody, you don't expose them. That is
Amen.
not love. Love covers.
Right.
Love protects.
Right.
So they didn't know, and I didn't go into all of the detail of what was going on with my wife physically, because all they needed to know was to pray for her.
Right. Right.
So I chose to bring my wife back home to Texas in an environment that was more conducive for her recovery and restoration, and to bring her around a lot of people that knew her.
Yes.
Because Jesus told me to love my wife. Now, if Jesus is going to love his wife, who is the church.
Mm-hmm.
He wants me to love my wife.
That's right.
And I
Right.
think where a lot of conflict happens is
Yes.
when I choose my parents over my wife.
Come
When I
on.
choose the children
Yes.
over my wife.
Come on.
When I choose work over my wife.
Come
Now, I
on.
know there's nothing wrong. We have to work. We make a living.
Mhm.
Or however we make money investing.
Sounds
Different ways we love our family, our
Yeah.
children, our parents. But my wife was there before the children were.
Come on.
I made a vow to my wife.
Wow.
She made a vow to me. So that's something we constantly have to keep in perspective, and we have to continue to choose each other.
Amen.
And keep everything in proper perspective and balance. Just like he blessed you with your mate, he blessed you with your children.
Mm-hmm.
Both are a gift.
Yes.
Both are a tremendous blessing,
Yes.
and you treat them as such.
Yes.
So I don't, we try to make sure we show God that we're thankful in everything that He's blessed us with, our marriage
Yes.
as well as our children, and find that balance continuously, especially with little ones. As they grow, not as demanding,
Right.
but when they're smaller, they're very demanding, and you really kind of have to be strategic and let's hurry up and get,
Right.
you know what I mean?
Right. You're right.
Before the kids come,
Right.
so we actually have to really be strategic
Right.
and mindful of each other's needs and strategize on how to accomplish that. It doesn't mean that you're putting the children before
Yes.
your husband, but it does mean that you understand both responsibilities.
And my wife said a very powerful word. She used the word gift. She used the word gift. My wife is a gift from God.
Yes, she is.
Every gift that comes from God requires accountability. Because God gave the gift, I'm careful in how I handle the gift because I have to answer to God for how I treat the gift. The same with her.
Wow.
I'm a gift to her from God.
Yes.
You use the word intimacy. You were talking about sex.
Yes.
It has become devalued in our culture, but actually, sex and lovemaking is a gift from God.
It is.
It is a privilege
Yes, it
that is
is.
reserved for the married people.
Yes, it is.
Where do you think Eve got that name from?
Yes, sir.
Woman.
I just say one thing.
Yeah.
Pray for
When
him.
my husband had to give up the church, or he chose to give up the church, it hurt me because I knew part of his destiny was pastoring, and I was unselfish. I was like, you can stay, and I'll just go, and we just commute back and forth. You don't have to give up the church for me because in my heart, I knew how much it meant to him to pastor. And I knew that was part of his destiny. But again, he followed the word. And I know God said I'm blessed him tremendously for it. He put me before the church.
And out of all there was a man that has been a mentor in my life. There's a man who wrote numerous books. He's pastored a mega church, and we have a very good relationship. And this man told me, he said, Aaron, he said, life is like a train, like a train ride. He said, on that train you have your wife, your children, your family. He said that train is going to make stops, and people are going to get on and off the train. And he said that's what life is. He said it's a train ride. He said, but you got to remember this. On that ride is going to be your family. It's going to be you and your wife. People are going to come and go. They're going to come and go. But you remember, she's there to help you. You're there to help her.
Right.
And he told me, he said, the secret to my success is I listen to my wife. Which bears to say that the wife, women, you have to be very careful of what you say.
That's true.
You don't want to unleash a lot of words.
That's true.
Because when you unleash a lot of words, when you need to really give a serious word or something valuable, it gets lost in translation because you've said so much too many times. Fussing weakens and takes away from when you really need to say something valuable. So it's very critical that she shares and that husband submits and allows her to share.
That's right.
See, I recognize, I love the church that I pastored, but the church was not my glory. The glory of the man, the glory of the man is the woman. I
Say
need
that.
my glory.
Say that.
She's the greatest expression of me.
Yes. It's biblical.
And she's my help. I need my help.
I need my help.
Amen.
So if I had to let other people go, so be it. It hurt.
Amen.
It disappointed me, but at the same time, I can't lose my health,
Come
my
on.
wife,
Come
my
on.
glory. I need my glory.
That's right.
I say this, man. I just been sitting here enjoying this dressing and the turkey and the macaroni and cheese and man, all of this that man y'all been sharing with us tonight. Just the past few seconds that y'all was sharing too. It was just a mouthful. And yeah. Hold on one second. We've been having all kind of technical issues tonight, but we gonna get it together.
Sad situation. Yes. But you know, when you really doing something good, and I don't use that as an excuse a lot, because sometimes it could just be the system. And I know we got good systems. System. And because you know, everything not the devil and everything is not God. Something it is just you. It's just what you didn't handle, what you didn't do before time. You know, a lot of things they just show itself up of what could have been done and to avoid distractions. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead, bro. You trying to say something?
And what you were saying, God not the author of confusion.
No, he's not.
Satan understands
Yes.
the power of agreement.
Yes.
How can two walk together except they be agreed? We don't. Something so amazing happened to me and my wife, and I think about it now, and it makes me laugh. We were, and the point I was making: how can two walk together except they be agreed? Satan comes to bring confusion, but there's power in agreement.
Right.
Me and my wife, we had purchased a home, and she was trying to decorate it, get the painting, the colors together on the inside. And instead of me just withdrawing myself, I got too inundated in the process. And I said, well, I don't think that color is going to work. We need to use this particular set of colors. And the painter was standing there looking at us, and we got into passionate, heated fellowship. And the painter, he was looking at us, and I got to the point I started getting angry. Because this is an emotion. We experience a series of emotions.
Amen.
In marriage, sometimes we do things or say things that can upset each other. This happens.
Amen.
Men and women, we think different. We have different thought processes.
Right.
Amen.
We listen different. We can have one message in mind, and by the time it comes out, it's interpreted altogether different.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
It's happened in a relationship. So we had this heated fellowship. And after we got done, the painter looked at us, and he did not profess to be a strong, mature believer, but he said, wow. He said, I felt God in that. I felt God in it. I sensed the presence of God. He's like, I know both of you love each other because even in your disagreement, I see God in it.
That's amazing.
I couldn't feel what he felt.
Right.
But God still ministered through our disagreement
Amen.
to reach him.
Yes. Come on.
And that's kind of the way I was going. And you hit it right on the head, because a lot of people blame this pandemic that we're in, this crisis. The church doors have been closed for the most part, or interrupted, or maybe whatever word you want to put on it. We can't worship as we normally would in a brick and mortar. But I think that it may be, when we look at when this is all said and done, if it's ever said and done, that it is a time that I believe God is trying to get us to go home and straighten out our home.
You got to.
I believe that, and people may argue with me on that, may be some see something else, but I do think that when we look at this thing, that God is sending husbands home, whether especially leaders, because as you said, leaders, we can get distracted with the brick and mortar and the church, that so much is being neglected at home. When and as you said, God, we look at the argument that you got a word from God from that.
Yes.
When you were strongly disagreeing, you and your wife, sometimes God sent, even with the disciples when they were all in Jerusalem, didn't want to go anywhere, God sent some tribulations and some persecutions that make them, force them to go out so the word of God would spread. And just like now, I believe God is allowing some persecution. It may not be from people, but this virus
Yes.
is forcing us to
Trying
go
to help us,
home,
man.
to be in our home, to look at our children and see
Yes.
how we are ministering to our children, how we ministering to our wives, how we're ministering to our husbands, how we ministering to our
Yes,
just
the whole
each
household.
individual child, and even our neighborhoods, but mainly our family. And I think a lot of times we're so anxious to get back in the building, and we're missing the whole message.
Wow.
That's deep. That make a lot of sense.
Family.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't mean to interrupt you personally.
No, go ahead. I said they make a lot of sense. I'll go after you.
Okay, I was going to say that the family is the building block of the church and the community. Before there was church, there was family.
Right.
What'd you say?
Before there was church, there was family.
One more time.
Before there was church, there was family.
Amen.
And with that being said, you caused me to think about something that I hadn't really thought about. We've been using work and church
Come on.
and many other different types of places and things as an escape
Drop the
from
mic.
our homes. And the reason our churches are off, our businesses off, a lot of other things are off, is because that fundamental building block, the family, is off. Even when you go back to Joshua said something very powerful. He said, "As for me and my house,
Come on, what?
we will
What?
serve the Lord."
Yes.
What?
And now God has allowed different factors and dynamics to force us to deal with the elephants in the room.
What?
We got to talk instead of just being gone from each other.
Escaping.
Now we
Yes.
have to communicate. We got to address the internal and the external and communicate so that we can come into agreement
Yes.
and
Yes,
have
sir.
fellowship.
Yes.
How can I love God who I cannot see?
Yes.
And then I can't talk to my family who I can see.
Yes. That's
The vertical
That's
causes
word.
the horizontal
That's
to
word.
come into alignment. If I love God that much and I'm that saved, I should be able to communicate with my wife. And the wife should be able to communicate with the husband.
yes.
The greater your revelation of God and your spiritual depth is,
Yes.
the more normal you are. The
Wow.
more touchable and the more loving you are.
Wow.
And the more relatable you are.
Wow. Wow. You were next.
Oh, you done? I thought you was about to go some more. I want to also mention and add on to what we were talking about earlier about our differences of our identity and why we're so separate. Because back to what I was talking about, our experience a couple weeks ago when we had that heated, discussion. Man, I'm gonna tell you something. This blew my mind. Anything God does for me, and to me, it blows my mind. And it should. But I'm going to say this, and I'm going to make it quick, because I know time is ticking. But I'm going to say, when that happened with us, we were spaced out for a minute. We were. I didn't want to be, because I'm more like, hey, whatever, whatever. You still come on, whatever. Still give me some time. Still come and talk to me. Communicate, right? This one particular night, I can't remember what happened, but you know, it was just really good, you know, one particular night in the midst of our disagreement. And so what happened was we came together, like the book of Song of Solomon says to do, honey. I got my scripture and all in that book. But anyway, we came together and we had an amazing time. Do you hear me? I mean, it was beautiful. While we were in our heated moment of disagreement, listen to what I'm saying. I'm going to read this to you real quick. Do not deprive one another. This is God's way. You listening? Do not deprive one another except with consent for a time. Do you hear that? That you may give yourself to fasting and prayer and come together what? Again, so that Satan does not tempt you because of your lack of self-control.
Wow.
When you in those vulnerable moments, because you know when you're fasting, you're vulnerable. When you in those vulnerable moments, you still need to hook up and link up with your husband or your wife. You still have to do it. That's his word. He's encouraging us and letting us know this right here will help your marriage. Man, the topic said what? How to save your marriage God's way. It's not time for us to be distant for days, for weeks, for months. That we are distant with each other as husbands and wives. That God ordained in the first place of marriage. That we done stood before him and committed and repeated the vow to him. You get what I'm saying? It's no way. If we would have been doing it the way God says to do it from the get-go, and we had classes, we had teaching, we had examples before us that was doing what God's word said to do, a lot of marriages, I believe, would still be holding on today, would still be married today. A lot of single women and men would be married today. I strongly believe that. If we had this caring and love like God has for us today, hallelujah, thank you, Jesus. So many marriages would not be messed up today. So many women wouldn't be messed up today. So many men would be messed up today. Whether they in the walk of Christ or whether they out here in the world, so many marriages would be strong today. Then our children would have good examples. Our babies would have better examples. The youth would have better examples. Other people would have better examples. You would never have to hear, I don't want to get married because what I seen before me. I don't want to get married because what I seen my dad and mom do. I don't want to get married because what I seen my pastor and first lady do. I don't want to get married because I see what the Christians do or what the saints do or people in the world. However, I don't want to get married, and that should never be because God ordained marriages. And that's why I take it so to heart with marriages, because you have to do it his way. That's the only way it's going to last. And the reason why I believe so much of the drama and the chaos, because of it was man's way. I don't care what nobody says, because God showed me and revealed that to me. It was man's way. That's why everyone is so messed up. Most people, 75% of the people are so messed up today because it was man's way. And a lot of time when you do get your own identity and you separate, you doing your own thing. You're not following God anymore. You're not. I don't care if you still married. You're not following God no more. You following flesh, and you following Satan, and you following man. Because that's not what God said for us to do. So we have to take it serious. And the purpose of this show is to encourage people. I don't even say encourage anymore. Because when you're saying encouraging, you still giving time and room for division. You still giving time and room for negativity. So I just say courage. I encourage you to keep on going. I encourage people to do it God's way, because I know it's working for me. And I know if it works for me, it's going to work for you. And I was talking to my husband the other day, and we was laying in the bed, and I told him, we was talking, And I'm ready to go because I know my life has big time changed with God. And I was telling him, I said, baby, I want us to start over in our marriage. I want to do it God's way. And there's nothing wrong with starting over. We've been married 23 years. And that's a jacked up time. That's a long time. So why not repent? Why not confess to the Lord? Because we was doing it man's way. We was doing it flesh way. I can speak for myself. And I was doing it to my way because I was separated. I divided. We had our own identity because we allow sin to come in. You allow sin to break that flesh up. You allow sin to break up that one that God created in the first place. So my purpose of the show is to help and encourage others and reach out to the lost, the hurt, and reach out to the needy and those that's going through, those that's confused, those that's ready to give up. And just encourage them, man, try God's way. And I can say that today. And I know what it means. And I can just like own it. It's amazing. It's amazing. I would trade God for nothing in the world. It's amazing because he helped you see you. He helped you see a vision. He give you discernment of your spouse. He give you discernment of things that's not right in your home. You just have an awesome and amazing connection with God like never before. There's no drama in God. There's no mess in God. It's no division in God. It's none of that. So I'm just grateful and thankful, and I just wanted to share. When we did that, this is deep, y'all. This is going to blow your mind. And this is just how he works with me. And I thank him for the gift. I do. I thank him for the gift because sometimes it messed me up because how big it is. But when my husband came together and we had that amazing moment, intimacy coming together, I'm going to tell y'all what happened. I'm gonna tell you. We was just laying there talking because it was beautiful. And we were just laying there talking and talking to each other and saying different things and talking about what happened with us. And as soon as we were laying there and talking to each other, holding each other, I told my husband I couldn't even move. I couldn't even move off my bed. He got up. I was still there. I was so stung of what I saw. Do you know a spirit walked out of our room? And I ain't talking about no beautiful spirit. The devil, a demonic spirit, walked out. And you know what my father showed me? And all he showed me was the backside. It was dark and it was shaped like of a man. It was shaped like of a man because the shoulders was arched and the shoulders was like a buff person. And it had a hat on and it had hair. And when he got up and my husband was about to go to the bathroom and I said, no, I was trying to call him because I know what I just saw. You know, it's walking through our door, out of our room, No, the door was closed and my husband was about to go this way. And I'm like, no, I was trying to get him, but I prayed immediately. But my father said, no, that's the sign of the devil. That's the sign of them demons. When you're having division with your spouse and y'all having these heated arguments, you better get intimacy in the midst of that. You have to come together in the midst of it. You have to come together, work it out some type of way, or look at her and look at him and smile and just have a good old time in it, because when you don't, you allowing that spirit to be on your bed to keep you to be divided before you and your wife. Do you hear me? This was real and it was angry because we came together. But as long as we was divided, it was happy. But when we came together, that thing had to flee. Because I told y'all it was a heated disagreement. And the distance and the space came in. And that's not what God wanted. But he showed me that and I told my husband, no more. No more when we do this. We're going to come together. We're going to do it God's way. We're going to do it God's way. I just wanted to share that with you guys. You know, if y'all want to say anything before I, tune out with the show. This was amazing.
That was a lot. You said a mouthful, and man, I thank God what I heard. I did have a question, and it just slipped my mind as you were talking.
Mm-hmm.
That I want to ask. um, uh, Pastor Lewis. I still say Pastor Lewis.
Yes.
But what I know, this is an issue that I had when my son was born. He's 21 now, so. But when he was born, my wife, and I say this because y'all have small children, I had an issue because my wife was so attentive to the children. And man, I felt left out. And what are some things that, and this is for both of you, I put it out there, maybe wife, what are some things that you do to make sure if you don't leave your husband out? And you kind of touched on it earlier. And what are some things that you do as a father and husband to make sure that your wife is attended to as she's nursing everybody? What are some things that y'all do during this time?
It's a little bit because I have health challenges. My husband actually has a feeling of some of the roles that I would play. Um, so our situation is a little bit different. So I'm not able to cook and move around like in a normal situation. So he has to kind of fill in those areas for me. But I can sit and I can, be attentive to the children, helping them study and learn and things like that. Helping them to get certain chores and activities done, whereas he doesn't have to worry about that. So I give the best that I can. But as far as making sure he gets what he needs, I can only say, hey, are you ready to right now? What do you think? When we know there are moments where, hey, we got time,
Yes.
But there's a sacrifice there when you agree to have children. You have to be aware
Right.
of the costs and the
Right.
sacrifice that it involves.
Right.
And that's not to say that you're putting your husband on the back burner, because you're not.
Right.
You both, hopefully you both agree to have children.
Right.
And so then if you are in agreement and you're walking in agreement, then you understand those sacrifices that you have to make. But when you're not being selfish, it's natural. You're like, hey, it's a good time, or let's get a movie. My husband will say, want to watch a movie while the kids are asleep or something like that. If I have the energy, I can. But sometimes I don't even have the energy, and thank God that he's not selfish. And he is a loving husband. He has attributes of Christ, and he is patient. When other husbands probably would have said, enough is enough.
Wow.
And so I am thankful every day. But you have to sow those seeds while, some people take for granted that they have the activities of their limbs. Things are functioning right. And while you have the opportunity, you need to be doing all you can in your marriage to make it work and show God that you appreciate the blessing that He's giving you.
That's a good example for better or for worse. That's a good example.
And man, just that's powerful that many of us, look at it as, I say my situation when my son came, as I said, I was jealous. I was like, hey, I'm left out. What about me? And then how y'all able to make it work even with even more circumstances, variables that's involved, show that it can be done, that sometimes we major on minor and minor on major things, and how y'all able to make it work, even with the difficulties that you're having at this point. We know it's not going to last, but at this point, how y'all working those, man, that's powerful.
Teamwork.
That is powerful.
Yes.
Yeah.
When whenever there's a challenge, well, most of the challenge is when I don't deny myself. When I don't deny myself. And as Pastor Rob said earlier, and we check in with each other.
Right.
There's power in the pillow talks.
Yes.
When everything is quiet and I can hear her heart without interruption. And she can hear my heart. Sometimes in my tiredness, and I must confess, sometimes when I'm tired and sometimes I don't listen good, but sometimes I don't feel like going into the great deep conversations and going on the emotional roller coaster, going through sometimes I just want to, let me get the condensed version of what you feel about tonight, so I can rest. But I've learned just this First Lady Jones, she talked about being available physically.
Yes.
It's just as important to be available emotionally.
Yes.
It just as we place emphasis on physical intercourse, emotional intercourse is very important also. Her mind needs to know what's on my mind. My mind needs to know what's on her mind.
That's right.
And
most definitely.
And also, I must confess, I had trouble adjusting. I was used to just the two of us. So when we had to make that, when there were additions to the family, in my mind, I was still at a place of just the two of us. And there were moments where I would tell my wife, I know we have babies, but I'm the first baby.
That's what I'm talking about, man. Come on.
And I know my wife loves me, yet there were times that I didn't understand, and there were times that I understood, and I'm yet growing in it. Anyone, if they really confess and tell the truth, they're growing in relationships.
Yes.
Nobody has it all figured out.
Right.
We're growing in this. So God began to allow me to see that my wife, she's multitasking. She's seeing about my needs and the children's needs. And for me to be more sensitive, she's doing her best.
Yes.
And for me to be patient and understanding, and as the covering for me to provide the support that she needs.
Right.
And I notice as I provide support to my wife, then I can support back. Whatsoever a man soweth, that's not just in giving, that's in marriage.
Come on.
I would even venture to ask the question to those who are listening and tuning in, what are you sowing into your marriage?
That's it.
What are you sowing into your wife? What are you sowing into your husband? The way that God designed the woman is a multiplier. Whatever you put into a woman, she gives back to you in great form. But a man puts a seed into a woman, that woman turns that seed into a child and gives that back to the man.
Come on. That's biblical.
A little bit of love into his wife. She multiplies that love and gives it back to him. But then vice versa. If I don't sow some good seeds in the relationship when things pop up, I can't be surprised.
Yeah.
Because little foxes destroy the vine.
Yes.
I have to be careful of using the D word, divorce.
Yes.
Just because somebody has a disagreement don't mean that we were not meant to be together.
That's right. That's a part of it, man. It's a part of marriage.
Relationship is like sandpaper.
Come on.
The more we rub together, the more smoother it gets.
Yes.
There has to be friction before there can be sweetness in time.
You better come on.
It's meaningful rubbing together.
I want to say this too. I want to say this. In a relationship, there will be intentional and unintentional offense that occurs. Sometimes I say things and it doesn't come across the right way, or I can say the right thing at the wrong time.
Right.
And it causes an offense.
Oh, yeah.
And my wife will let me know, you said such and so, and that hurt me.
Right.
And because she expressed that to me, I may not like it or want to receive it.
Come on.
But it frees that from off of her heart.
Yes.
And it's important that in those heated moments, we got to be careful how we communicate.
Yes.
But we cannot allow the heat to stop us from communicating.
Amen. Say that
And then
again.
the greater the offense, the greater the forgiveness.
Yeah.
Wow.
The apology.
Yeah, the apology has to match up to the level of the offense.
Yes, it does.
If she's hurt very greatly,
Yes.
if he's hurt very greatly,
Right.
you gotta apologize to that person very
Yes.
greatly.
Wow.
That's necessary.
Yes.
Because that's how the healing occurs. We have to release what's within
Right.
to get healing within.
That's right.
Sometimes when we get hurt, relationship is for grown-ups. Marriage is for grown people.
Yes. Full grown.
It's
Wow.
not for children.
That's
Right.
right.
Wow. Woo!
Oh, I thought he was going to
Oh man, I'm telling you, I really enjoyed myself. I know, and I don't know.
We have too.
Yes, we have.
She's gonna fire me again. I keep getting fired almost every week because I'm the producer of the show. When something don't go right,
He in trouble. He's in
I'm
trouble
in trouble.
with
So,
this show tonight.
but I really enjoyed myself.
But the Lord still, I mean, it still was good.
Yeah.
We just probably gonna have 2 videos. It's gonna be 2 videos. We're gonna have to try to merge them videos together in some type of way.
Yeah.
Because this was good information and we don't want
Right.
nobody to miss out on this information. I know we lost views, but they'll get back on. They'll get back on because that topic says how to save your marriage. God's way. And his way is the only way. It's no in between. It's nothing. It's his way. His ways is the right way. And I'm going to get you, big bro. I told you I didn't want to be on here 2 hours. But it was good, and then we did have a distraction. But I am grateful and thankful for you all coming on tonight. I am so excited. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You want to say something before I close out?
I was just gonna say, yeah, we might have been on here 2 hours, but it was 2 hours well spent about issues that I think need to be dealt with.
You're right.
I mean, these things are long overdue, and
It
you
is
just
true.
can't fly through them. I
That's
think
true.
sometimes we have to take our time with the things that mean the most to us.
You right, King. Okay, sir. He right. He's telling the truth because if we didn't go through what we went through and yet going through, because we had a lot of junk and mess that we had to get purged out of us, that we had to get cleaned out of us, inside and out, because, the way things were, the way, what we had before us. So, I mean, now we here being an example to others and helping, encouraging others. But we do thank you all for coming. And I truly, how did y'all like the intro? How did y'all like it?
Awesome. You all did it great. You all are first
Thank you
class.
for the video of us. That was so nice.
Caught y'all off guard. Yes, but that's how we do it, with the help of God. But I thank you all for tuning in. All you all that viewed and watched us, thank you all for tuning in with us on tonight at the Talk That's Real show. We truly thank God because this is his show and my show that he put us together. If it weren't for God, it wouldn't be. So we truly give God all the glory and all the honor because he is worthy of it all. Please tune in, Lord's willing, on next week. You don't want to miss this hot show, and you sure don't want to miss the hot topic. Please. What is it? Oh. You messed me up. That's a sad situation. But please, you all tune in next week, Lord's willing. I believe that's our last week. Whatever the Lord say, you guys. But tune in next week. This is our whole month of married couples, and also those that may be engaged or even thinking about getting married. please don't throw in the towel. Marriage is beautiful. It's awesome and it's amazing. So please, and also I want to encourage you, please choose Jesus this day. He's the best that can ever happen to you. He's the only one that can bring you out of darkness and bring you into the marvelous light. So please choose him today. Stay tuned and continue to join the Talk That's Real show. Can I get y'all to say that too? Bye. You didn't sing it.
Bye.
But I love you all. Please stay courage.